Today on Gamer's Couch,
the Oracle of Delphi.
Hello and welcome to the couch. It's Sunday, it's April, it's spring. And in springtime you always want to find out things that happen throughout the year, and then you have to play Oracle of Delphi, no?
Yeah,
Isn't that how it works?
This is also no joke. Despite,
today that we recorded, it's the 1st of April, but
yes.
when they watch it, it's the 2nd. So probably the 2nd.
Maybe.
We
don't know yet.
No.
Maybe they're watching it on the 3rd.
Ooh, that's... Oh. Anyway, let's start, right? So this is Daniel, my sweet hubby and fellow board gamer, and my name is Sarah. I'm the Artist beim Pinselgeschichten owner of this channel and also board gamer. And today we're gonna talk about the lovely game Oracle of Delphi, and we go about it just like every week. Rules and gameplay. We play a turn or 2 or 3 maybe if we feel totally fancy, and then we talk about what we liked or not liked, and we share funny stories and experience. And this week we will have a teaser for the next draw for initiative painting. Are you excited to get back to guessing what game's gonna come up? No? Yes, totally. Also, I feel like we might move forward quite significantly in the subplot of the last couple of episodes of Gamer's Couch, the duck being the world president.
I don't think you need to explain the plot.
No, what if somebody else comes in for the first time now and thinks like, what the heck? I mean, they were weird, but now they lose it? Now there's a subplot here.
If you recall,
you gotta get back to Anachrony.
We finally found a way to solve our little time dilemma, and that is actually talking to the next higher level of support. If you run into problems with a world's president and some weird timelines going in parallel, you have to escalate to the, let's say, support manager. In our case, we went for Zeus, and by contacting him through the Oracle of Delphi, because now it can say rules and gameplay, because we are adventurers in the Oracle of Delphi who are trying to win the favor of Zeus by completing 12 tasks. If you heard this before, well, there's quite a lot of ancient, hero stories that revolve around, you want something? Here's some arbitrary tasks and monsters you gotta get rid of. It's like pest control in the ancient times. Also do some building stuff and so on. And if you spend a lifetime doing nonsense, because that's what obviously the gods are amused by, then they grant you a friendly wink or something. And
bravo.
We decided to not go for the wink, but to solve our little time dilemma by competing with ourselves, who is best fitted to compete in those tasks that Zeus gave us. So you may ask, well, what tasks? Well, in the Oracle of Delphi, which is a game by Stefan No, don't run away. This isn't the point salad game. You know it is. Typically, this is a little bit different. It has some very Feldian things about it, but it's not the here's your million ways to earn victory points and at the end you'll figure out what to do. In fact, what I find, and this is a spoiler for the likes already, what I find quite refreshing here is that this is a game that tells you very clearly what you have to do, and it's more about the execution. How do you get there? How can you optimize your path of getting there? Will you be better than the others? It is, as in those ancient stories, a bunch of tasks that you get. So each of us has a little ship in the player color. It's for me, it's
you're red today,
and for Sarah, it's yellow. And the tasks we're given are on the top of our player board. So we have one just to orient yourself, we have one huge map, and this is actually a modular map, so you can rearrange that, and that makes it look interesting. You can go for the symmetrical look, or the one we have here, which is less symmetrical, which...
this is the very intuitive look. When I set it up, it was like, oh, this looks nice there. So, sorry.
With different places here, but yes, this is the Aegean. I tried to remember what the English word was for Aegeus.
Aegeus, yeah. It's somewhere on the screen now.
Aegean?
You told me, and I totally forgot.
See, and these are all the islands around, and we will be shipping over here and there, doing our little tasks like they did. So we also have our player boards. Most importantly, because they're really on top of things, are the tasks we have to complete. So on top of our board, we have these 12 little tokens that represent things we have to do. And the player who completes them first, well, he or she is the winner of the favor of the Zeus and gets the party invite, and then can party on, Wayne and Garth.
That's what they call Olympia, right? Because you go to the Olymp and then you have a party. It's like Olympia. Yeah.
No, I think that's the one where you try to deflect drug tests and then...
Well, that's a party.
And then try to keep the medal as long as you can. Mm-hmm. And no, I'm doing a disrespect to all the fair sportsmen out there, but that's kind of the thing that's about sometimes. So, talking about tasks... basically, there's only 4 different types of tasks that we have to complete. Actually, 3... No, 4.
No, it's 4.
Yeah, I was right. Sometimes I'm right. We have, for instance, this here, and the top camera be my guide, is we have to build one of these 3 temples from our board onto a fitting island, which you may not be able to tell, but there's little tiles on here that we have to flip over, and if the symbol matches the symbol on our tiles, we can build a temple there, or actually we want to build a temple there onto the matching symbol. Once all 3 are done, we're good. We also get a benefit from completing these tasks. That's on the lower half of the thing. This one revolves around pushing over the favor of the other gods. We'll get to that, as always, in these games. But let's continue on. Then we have to set up 3 statues, and we have different statues available on the map. We have red ones, yellow ones, blue ones, pink ones. And they want to be carried over to a place where they can be built. There's these tiles here with the corresponding icons. So if I want to, if I bring the green statue over to this thing, place it on here, that would fulfill my contract or my challenge, and I'll be getting a card as a reward for that upgrades my possibilities. These are called companion cards. We'll see them soon enough. The third type of task is to beat a monster. This wouldn't be a hero's journey without a proper monster to kick its ass and chew bubblegum. In this case, in the ancient times, there was no gum, so only ass-kicking for monsters. We have to kill a yellow, a red, and a black monster.
And a monster of whatever color.
And one of the other ones that we choose to. By the way, these tasks that we have are all the same for all the players. And in this game, it's 2 to 4. If you complete that, if you beat up a monster badly enough, you get one of these equipment cards that also gives you a permanent boost upgrade thing to do. And last but not least, the kind of rather simple task of pick up stuff and deliver it. In this case, we have to pick up offerings, which are these little cubes here, and we have to get them to the corresponding temple. So bring the blue cube to the blue temple, and that would fulfill this specific task that says blue to blue. And then we have one that's bring any colored cube to its corresponding temple. And for that, we get the game's sort of currency are Zeus's favor tokens. These can be used to extend stuff, enhance some effects or some actions that you want to do, but that's the total gist. If you complete all these 12 and go back to the old man, he will do the and Bob's your uncle. In doing that, you will have rounds of action. And your action is determined by what colored dice you have in front of you. So the name of the game revolves around this area here, which is the Oracle and your Oracle dice. Each player has 3 dice, and each die has one of these 6 colored symbols. And they kind of determine what you can do. Well, not necessarily what you can do, but where you can do it and how it resolves in certain aspects. Meaning that every player has 3 actions that they can do. They might be the same, and one of the popular ones is, for example, move your ship. So without any upgrades and basic functionality, you can move your ship 3 spaces. To do that, you have to spend a die that has the same color as the tile you want to travel to. So let's say I want to go with my red boat to this red tile here, which is 1, 2, 3 spaces. Then I need to spend my red die here, and to indicate that I put it onto the woman in the center because she apparently loves Oracle dice.
That's Vera.
Pythia?
Pythia, whatever her name is.
Yeah, that's Sarah already doing the great job with the naming stuff.
Like every week. I'm sorry, folks.
So that's one way you can use it as. Actually, the moving the ship around is probably the thing you will do the most to reach all those locations. Other things work in a surprisingly similar manner. So if I am standing here with the red die, I could use the black die to load the black cube onto my ship, because then I can try to carry it to the black temple over there by moving to the green tile, which would be here. So
well, that could be your first turn.
That could be my first turn, so I'll take the black die. So where does this black die go? Well, each of us has a little ship on here, and in my case, my ship has 4 slots to carry things around, which is pretty neat. Each player has a different starting ship, or has a different ship with different starting conditions. Mine has a lot of storage. Sarah only has 2 storage, but her starting or her
I have the motorboat.
She can move 2 additional tiles, but she still has to spend the die of the color that she wants to hang on. So we actually kind of we skipped the first phase of this thing, which would be at the first turn. We check if we have wounds. In this case, each player starts the game with 1 wound. I have a black one, Sarah has a pink one. If you have no wounds, you get also to advance a favor of the gods, and again, I'll get to that, and you gain 2 of these Zeus favor tokens. If you have a wound, well, nothing in particular happens. However, if you have either 6 wounds in total or 3 wounds of 1 color, you have to discard 3 of the cards and forfeit your turn. That's kind of, you're busy fixing yourself up in some way. And there's other ways to get rid of these to keep you from doing too many of those things. So ideally, you should never run into the situation where you, unless you're playing really risky, where you have to sit out a turn. It's kind of like a nuisance you have to deal with, but it's not really crippling kind of thing. So after that comes my action turn. I actually did that. I moved my 3 dice. There's a 4th action you can do as a reward. You get these cards here. These are called Oracle cards, and essentially they are just a colored side of the die. There's nothing else on here, just that color. And you can collect them. They're just openly placed next to the board, and per turn, you can spend 1 of those cards to use it as a 4th die with all the possibilities that you can do. One thing about spending actions that I didn't tell you yet is you're not entirely at the mercy of the dice or at the mercy of the die roll, to be specific. You can change dice. If you take a look at the board, if I wouldn't have liked the black die as I did, I could change it by spending these favor tokens. And I said these are almost a currency to modify what you want to do. And you see on the board here, for each of these tokens I spend, I can change the color of the die to in a clockwise order. This also, by the way, goes for the virtual fourth die that you get through one of these favor cards. If you choose to play one, that gives you a lot of kind of freedom in how you do things, because as you can see on the board, sometimes you might not have the fitting color to move where you want to, and then you just have to spend those tokens. In that regard, my special starting power, by the way, means that I can go counterclockwise as well. So it's a little bit easier for me to move my dice around and get to the one that I'd like most. And other powers have other different effects, but I think you're getting the idea. After I have done that, I get to re-roll my dice, and Sarah is entirely antsy about what I'm going to roll. And fortunately for me, I rolled a good thing for me, but not so good for Sarah. So what Sarah was looking for is if your opponent is rolling dice and one of the colors or icons matches one of your gods that are not on the starting row, so they're not down here in kind of some sauna spa thing, but they're actually in the clouds, then you get to move them one up. This is the advance a god by one action. You can also spend your action dice to do that. So if I hadn't moved and did stuff here, I could have spent, let's say, the blue die to move the blue god up front, and depending on how many players we are, it goes up to that starting tile, and for each of those dice I spend, I can move them up. Once a god reaches his seat up here, he is actually willing to you. So if you have a wish, he may grant it. And depending on the god, the effect of that wish is very different. So, for example, the blue god, since we already talked about moving the ship, if you have him up here, you can spend him, and that's not considered an action. It's just something you can do on your turn. You can spend him to move your ship to any space on the board, or at least to any water space on the board, which is incredibly powerful. But that's kind of the thing you can do in this game. You have to consider, do you want to spend your oracle dice to move around and do the stuff, or do you want to charge up these kind of superpowers that take quite some time to get charged up? Or do you want to do that? Ultimately, you have to interact with the board to fulfill your tasks. There's only few here that help you do so. For example, the Aris, the black guy here, allows you to defeat a monster instantly if you're next to it, which is pretty powerful for one of these tasks. But as I said, you need some time to charge him up.
Can I do my turn now?
Yes, and while that, maybe you do something that I haven't explained yet?
Yes, I do. I want to go 1, 2, 3.
So you're spending a red die?
My red die. They cannot see my player board, so sorry about that, but I'm talking it through. I have a green die and a pink die left, so I want to check underneath those islands.
One of the actions is that you can spend a die to investigate the color. To investigate an island. So you flip that over, and you have to spend the die that is matching the color of the island. In this case, Sarah has, I think that's a fee. I'm not entirely sure. I think that's a fee. So if that would have been one of her 3 starting tiles, and I think you.
I don't.
See? Yeah, but I have one.
Yeah,
so
we're all a tiny bit different.
I think
with the icons.
Oh, I thought we all had the same.
No.
So if I would have turned that up, I could have immediately took my temple, placed it on here, and yay!
But I don't.
I'm good. Since Sarah doesn't have a matching temple, she gets one of the rewards that's printed on the board. So she gets 2 oracle cards, and if she wanted to, she can immediately use one this turn or already. Now, the good news for me is, since I have to get there, I know that if I just move over there and spend a die, I can complete that task, which allows me to advance one of my gods.
But I have the pink die as well, so I can check underneath this tile here. And yeah, I can build. I do have this one here.
Okay.
And now I can advance a god.
So here's another little thing that you consider when it goes to advancing gods. You can either move one that's already here on his cloudy way to his seat, or you can move up one, and for example like this. Only gods that are already on the cloudy way are considered for the advance when an opponent rolls dice. So the more you have out there, the more you kind of benefit from the other player. So Sarah rolled a black amongst other things. Since this is the only guy I have here, it's quite simple for me to move him. You may only move one god with this, so if you have multiple out, you have to think about what you really want most out of this thing.
And now, since I'm the last player, I get to roll the Titan die, or as we call it, the die of husband's despair.
You are screwed.
Oh, it's a 1! I'm good.
We are all taking a wound.
Yeah, but I usually roll a 6, so that means 2 wounds.
So at the end of all the players' turns, that black die is rolled, and everybody gets a wound card unless it's 6. Then you get 2 wound cards. However, you can defend against that. So, by the way, I get this pink wound card.
I get a black one.
You can defend against that by increasing your shields, and these are increased by varying game effects. Some come from these companion cards I mentioned, some come from other effects, like if you uncover this Omega Island and don't have a temple yet built there, that would increase your...
But that's not against the Titan, just the monsters.
That's also against the Titan.
Oh! Okay.
Well, the shield.
I cheated myself.
If you have a shield, last time we played, you already rolled so high that we always rolled over our shields. But if the result on the die is higher than the number of shields you have, then you take the wound. Otherwise, you are shielded against the wound. But that's one of the advantages of amping up the shields, because you are less prone to getting rid of cards. Speaking of which, I could, theoretically, this turn spend my black die to get rid of all the black wound cards that I have, but I still think I'm good with just one. But you never know with Sarah rolling the dice.
Never let me be the last player in this game. And just saying.
As you've seen, this is an entire round, so the only thing that kind of
the monster slaying
is left to explain is the monster slaying, and maybe what you can expect from getting companions. So it actually at this point in the game, it is not as easy to slay a monster. You probably want to do that a little bit later if you upgraded your shields some bits, because that is beneficial for what you want to do. What I could do now, just to explain you a little bit how the turn goes, I can I could use my special power to turn this blue die actually into a pink die by spending one of these favor tokens, and then use that pink die to move my ship to this pink space over here. And since I have the black good loaded, I can spend the black die to unload the black good to the black temple there, and that allows me to fulfill my here's your generic tile delivery thing, and I'm getting 3 3 of the Zeus favors back, which, that's a 5er, that's more than Zeus could deliver to me. And that still leaves me a red die, so I could either move forward, or I could try to, Yeah, the other things that are around here are not super enticing, so I might just go and increase my red god with this one, and there we go. So let's talk about the other things you can do. As I said, there's statues. If you deliver them to the corresponding spot, you get a hero of that color, and those are also permanent upgrades. There's always different heroes of the same color.
It's different types, heroes and monsters.
There's 3 different heroes per color. And
one of them was a demigod,
it's a hero, it's a mystical creature, and a demigod.
But they're not all heroes, they're all companions.
Yes, that's, yeah. So the choices you have if you build a statue is to pick one of the color of the statue that you have. For example, this minus allows you to use the yellow die as any kind of colored die. Also, you get an oracle card immediately. Then you have Bellerophon, who increases your shields by 2, hence the 2 arrows there, and you now never ever get yellow wound cards anymore, and you discard them immediately, which is pretty dope. Or you can have Gryphos. Whenever you spend a yellow die, you can move to any colored space and also have an increase in range by 3. So if Sarah had that card, she would have 8 spaces for a single yellow die, which sounds insane, but that's the cool thing about these upgrades. They actually
very
are
powerful
upgrades.
Yeah.
Other things you can do if you defeat a monster. Let's talk about how to defeat a monster. If you go next to a monster and spend the colored die of the monster, you can fight against it. A monster always has a strength of 9, which sounds intimidating, minus the amount of shields that you have. That's why I said at the beginning of the game you might not want to go after a monster immediately, but maybe you get lucky. Then you have this magical multi-sided die, and you have to roll it. And if you roll higher than the number that results from 9 minus the shields, that monster is beaten to a pulp, and you get to take it and place it on here. And I didn't roll correctly, so I'm obviously cheating by placing the monster here, but that's how it goes. If you did not beat the monster like I did right now, and that's something I can do because I have a lot of these favor tokens. I could, for example, spend one of these guys to re-roll again, and now the monster is weaker because he tried chasing me around a mountain or something like that. Maybe I'm lucky now. No, I am not, and I can spend another token, and we'll do this until the SD card of the camera is full or the monster gives up. In this case, I am not doing well. I'm still not doing well. Maybe I can... This is terrible. So I've spent 5 tokens, so it should be down to 4 or higher. Oh, 8! I have rolled...
This is what I did while you were explaining the first round.
For the purpose of this rule explanation, forgive us. Pretty sure Zeus will fix that in future time. So getting a monster not only fulfills one of your cards here, your little tasks, but you also get a pretty cool reward for this one, and that is an equipment. There's 6 equipment cards kind of available, and who comes first, well, gets to choose first. These are also pretty dope. For example, this one increases your wound capacity, so you only have to, well, forfeit a turn if you have 4 of the same color, or 8 cards in total. Or this one. So there's an action, or you can also spend a die to take a look of any of those 2 island cards to find out where the one is you're looking for, not to blindly go out and venture. And you just put them back, and then you know more than the other players. Well, if you have this upgrade thing, you can look at both, and you can immediately flip one over, which is pretty useful. Or this one, which allows you to travel over these empty spaces, which are considered deep waters, and our flimsy boats are not made for deep waters. But if you have this thing, you can not only cross deep water, but you just treat it as if it would be, you don't even count it as a tile. So moving from here to here is just one, which is also pretty cool. Or you have this one, which immediately gives you a cube of the color that's displayed here, or the same for a statue. So you see there's these upgrades are pretty dope to have, and you get better. So it becomes this race to complete all the tasks, and once you have done that, you just need to go back to the old man and then say, hey, I completed your grocery list of really important monster punchings and delivering of the goods to the temples that are burned to appease you. And so you're just sitting up there in the cloud saying, ha, idiots, burning all the food, while shape-shifting into other forms and shagging unsuspecting women in the ancient times. So that's
how the story goes.
That's how he was a very prolific kind of guy, and I mean, half of the companion deck is probably his offspring. So, yeah, but I think you have now witnessed all the things you can do in this game. I mean, the game comes with this little reference card, which then also explains to you what you can do. But the basic gist here is most of the actions that interact with something on the board require you to spend a die of the fitting color. If you don't have one, you can shuffle them around with the Zeus favors. And then there's also some actions where it doesn't matter which color the die has. So, for example, you can spend a die just to take an oracle card, which might be helpful in a future turn. Or you take two of these Zeus favor tokens, or as I said, you look at two island cards. You can also spend a die to get rid of all the wound cards of the same color of that die, and so on. Now, since this isn't a point salad game, it's actually difficult to determine who wins. Well, it's in the traditional Feldian way. In this game, you win if you're the first Zeus's feat with all tasks completed. So the first player who goes there and says, I'm done, that triggers a final round for everyone, and then you might come up there, and then there's some tiebreaker rules. But basically, this is more a game about how can you... Not how do you optimize your way to get points, but it is really about how can you optimize your way to upgrade your path and move around the board effectively, being able to combine the tasks while also having to live a little bit with the RNG of these dice, the black die. But that's it. It looks random with the Oracle dice, but it is not much, since you can always tweak a little bit with the Zeus tokens and do some fun stuff. I think that...
Can you go for age of the player thingy, and then we can go into the next
You can play this game if you're this high or 12 years of age or older. You might be able to play this with 11. Maybe it's a good time to bring out all those old stop animation Harryhausen movies with your kid and then say, hey, you know what? We can try to do this. And we just imagine that this wooden cube is a really dangerous Hydra. And then we go shopping and deliver to the temples. It's 2 to 4 players, and it says 60 to 100 minutes, which I'm pretty sure goes for the long game. So the rules come with a variant that is just the shorter game where you have less of these tasks to complete. But it is basically the same game. It's just shorter, as the variant name implies.
And that leads us into the next section, likes and dislikes, right?
Yes, or as I like to call it, coffee and she talks.
All right. So this is of the annoying husband drinking coffee. Now, this is one of the games that, for me personally, fills a niche. So this would maybe not be the first action selection game I would ask to bring to the table whenever I felt like this. Like playing one of these games. I got it! Yeah, I didn't realize I did that.
I see what you did there, yeah.
Check, bing. But this scratches the itch of having a tiny bit of the luck and unknowing kind of, or uncontrolling kind of part in there. I do really like the dice rolling about that. I'm usually not a person that is super heavy into luck-based games, especially not with biggies.
You like chucking dice.
I like, yeah. But I want to have some sort of control. I want to be able to manipulate them, like I can do here with the favors. Would I just have to deal with whatever the dice show? I would, be cursing in maybe very many languages. So this is just the right balance between control and luck for me. And there's not very many other games of this type that we own that has this. Most of the action selection games is that you're really in control and you just have to choose, okay, what can you do with what you got, maybe with cards or stuff, but not so much with dice. And I like that. This is for this particular reason. It's maybe not, like I said, my favorite action selection game, but it doesn't have to be. It offers something that I really like and that is unique in comparison to the other games that we own. I do like the theme. It's like, would there some kind of trait be involved? I would be giggling at the table all the time just because,
it's not
trading in the Mediterranean is.
But that's that's earlier than this.
I know, but still, it's the Mediterranean Sea. I mean, Aegeus is part of it. So, anyway, but I do like the theme. I do like Greek history and mythology anyways. So this is theme-wise, color-wise, production-wise, right down my alley. I like the modular pieces of the board so that you can change things up and you have maybe a bit more replayability. I'm not 100% sure, but I think I'm going to tend towards the shorter games of this. The longer games might be just a little too long for the actions that you do and what you try to achieve. And it's more of a race, even more of a race with the shorter game.
I certainly would recommend playing or going with the shorter first, especially if
the game also comes with the recommendation.
3 players.
The game comes with the recommendation that you start with a shorter game, and I think that's perfect. But if you feel like, you've got a rainy afternoon and you want to just play a long round of this, you can do that. That's totally fine. I don't. I think that's. Did I say everything?
Maybe you remember if I say something.
Yeah.
So
maybe I don't know.
I hope I kept the promise initially when I said don't run away. This is not the thing that I would associate with a Stefan Feld game. As I said, there's no point salad going on. I have to say something I really like about this is how refreshingly simple it is in terms of this is what you have to do. I don't get me wrong. I like games where here's a billion ways to earn points. Figure out the best way how to make most of them, or get your engine running and do this and do that. And this still has some of that, but it kind of sets you off of these are the things you have to do, and then you immediately start looking. Okay, what's the closest I can reach, or what is the thing that I think benefits me the most in the short term, and go for that. And then you just go crossing them off one by one until you got rid of them all. Which, as I said, is refreshing. Just the thought of, hey, I don't have to really deeply pre-plan 800 moves because I don't even know what my dice will say next turn. It's almost like you roll your Orca dice and then you get to start thinking or just looking, okay, what can I actually reach without spending too many other resources to get there, while the other players are doing their turn. And yes, the manual encourages that, and I would also encourage that to start that thought process as soon as you roll your Oracle dice and not when it's your turn, because otherwise this game easily is 100 minutes with the short version, which
with just 2 players,
which you don't want to have. But yeah, that's the kind of the first thing that comes to mind when I think about this game. I also am surprised when you said theme. I mean, typically, I think that's one of the ideas that goes hand in hand with the name Stefan Feld. Is like really terrific game or terrific mechanics, but very light on theme. I actually like the theme with this one, where you have these tasks to complete, and I mean, yes, it's still carrying wooden cubes around and delivering them, but I like it. I mean, I don't know exactly why Oracle dice would kind of fuel your actions, but that's a given. I mean,
because with them you can determine what your path is gonna be and how you can maneuver to your goal destination.
That's maybe the thing, but I like this entire. Hey, these are the tasks given to you by the big man, and go forth and do the delivery. Although I have to say this, while it might seem that way, this is not a pure pick up and deliver game. It has those aspects by you have to carry around these goods and statues and bring them to their destination, and by kind of extension also for those temples. But it is, I have to say, while playing this, I actually was a little bit surprised, because I was then immediately thinking, okay, so this is a game where you try to optimize your way around the board using, okay, if I go there, I keep that color in my range, and whatever next turn I do, I can get there quickly. It is actually less about that. It's not, there is path optimization in here, but that's not the main meat of the game. It's mostly kind of, at least to me, it felt like that the upgrades were more important, or the progress I do in terms of, okay, how can I make certain things better? Am I always being kept down by getting weird wound cards because I'm playing with someone who is entirely unable to roll dice properly? Then I might want to go for one of the companions who helps me just ignore some of those wound cards. Or do I always feel that I have trouble getting to where I want to get, or spending a lot of tokens? I might go for the thing that gives me additional Zeus tokens, or I might go for the thing that extends my ship's range. And do that. So it's that kind of thing that mostly kept me occupied mentally while playing this. And while it looks a little bit chaotic, it is rather simple. I mean, yes, there's a lot of different actions you can do, but once you have the general idea of what's possible, it is really just, okay, there's these actions that interact immediately with stuff that you're on or want to get to on the board, and then there's these 3 other things that don't matter that much. Well, they matter, but it doesn't matter that much what color your dice have to do that. It's like this little, here's your superpower charging track that you can upgrade. And it's actually, that is something, I like games if they add something that keeps you interested in whenever someone else is doing their turn. And even if it's in that I roll my dice and you get to see if I roll something that you can upgrade on your track kind of thing. Which is not much, but keeps folks...
They're busy thinking about their own turn, what they want to do, and then you can distract them by rolling your dice, and they think, is my god gonna move maybe? And then they get back to thinking, and this is how you can get them occupied while 3 other players are playing, not just one. So.
And if you want the reference, the last Stefan Feld game we played was Aquasphere, which we also very much liked. But
that was way more brain farty than this one.
Yeah,
this one is surprisingly easy.
I think there's almost the same amount of stuff you can do, but since this gives you a clear path to this is what you want to go for, I think this is just easier to immediately grok and comprehend to
definitely
get on board with once you have the basics down on how these actions work.
Yeah. This time around, I read the manual and did the build setup and explaining and everything. And I have to say that the manual is very, very well written, meaning there's a lot of... it's well sectioned, that you get your main, this is how it works for whatever part, and then you get a little blip for, oh, this is, by the way, what we recommend for the first game or for the short game, and it's color-coded, so it's really easy to comprehend. And you have kind of like a errata or FAQ for all the cards and stuff, all the icons in there. But... yeah, so you can check that out, but what I forgot to say, I thought they could have maybe done a better job with these player cards because, well, they don't say, they just have the icons, and when you play first time, it's like, yeah, okay, that's not how a turn goes or what I could go on my turn, it's just all the icons, so it's just like, maybe... And they're printed equally on both sides, so maybe one would be the turn order and the other one would be the icons. I think that would have been better, but I really like the manual.
Speaking of both sides, something else that's pretty cool, pretty cool is I like if things are used just to provide additional things. If you flip them over, you have a different looking board. I mean, it's still the same board, but instead, if you don't like these black borders, you just get the colored icons on here, which makes for a little cleaner look. But we actually... for the purpose of this video, and I think for the purpose of our own aging eyes, we actually like the colored borders.
Also, you see, if you have a ship on there, then you don't know, because multiple ships can be on one space. I would always have to pick them up and see, okay, what colors underneath there. I just find that irritating. So
and
we play with this side.
And for a game that heavily relies on colors, since it also uses unique symbols, if you have trouble seeing specific colors or any colors, well, I mean, you should be able to see anything to play this. But if you're colorblind, this would still work perfectly for you because everything is matched with one of these 4 unique six unique symbols. Well, maybe someone has to tell you which monster is which color, but
that is true.
or you have to agree on that because they are not on here. Each color has its own type of monster, so you should still be fine with that once you figure out who is what.
Yeah. So shall we rate? Or is there anything else you want to add?
No.
No? 1, 2, 3. I have a slight little...
No,
as it's not my... like I said, it is in a niche and it has its place there, but it's not my favorite one.
I like this type of game, and I found this surprising in, as I said, as it is or was refreshing to play, and I appreciate that. And since this is kind of... These ratings are always happen in the moment, I'm looking forward to giving this another try at another point in the timeline that is our life.
I think this would be one with my mom or with your parents. I think they would very much enjoy this.
It's certainly thinky, but it's not... You don't have to master everything immediately. You can kind of approach this step by step, which I think is a plus for the game. Yeah. And makes this, while... a little bit more difficult, but still I would place this in the family range where yes, this might take some turns to get started, but then you should be good. But it's an interesting mental challenge, so yeah.
So let's hop into the last section, funny stories and experience, and he already hinted at it pretty much very openly. Never let me be the last player.
There's only one side on this die. It's this, actually two. It's the 6 and the 5.
That was the the first 4 turns were 6 and 5. So we stacked up on wounds pretty much instantly in the last game. And then we both worked at increasing our shields pretty much because I said, I'm so sorry, honey. I'm rolling so shitty, but whatever.
You are going to be the start player, she said. I'm going to be the last player, she said. And we kind of, at that point, I didn't knew that would happen.
Yeah, I'm sorry. But then we increased our shields and say, we can buffer a bit,
There's always a chance to roll higher than your shield.
Towards, I'd say mid-game, I had my shield up at 4. Guess what I was rolling? There was no turn that I did not draw a wound card. Let's put it this way. So if you play with me, and I will definitely play this game with you if you ask me, but just don't let me be the last player if you want to have a nice experience there. And I mean, if you really want a big challenge, well, yeah, let me be the last player. That's fine, but I'm just warning you there. And everybody who comes to this house and sees those videos, I'm warning you, don't let me be the last player. It can be.
Yeah,
it can be very challenging. I'm so sorry. And
no, you're not.
I am, because I get the wounds too. It's not just everybody else. It's like every player.
But I'm getting in-game wounds and mind wounds because it's like nobody's that terrible at. And then you go, I'm.
No, not he. It's like, It's more like this. Anyway, but other than that, other than the Titan roll, I really enjoyed the games. It was always brain. It was always thinky, but not brain melty. So we could have a joke in there, or we could have maybe a short conversation about other things in there. Not too much, not too heavy, but like, if we're done playing that, would you like to have dessert? Because we usually play after dinner. Things like that, you can talk with the game or talk while you're playing, but we didn't hack a plan to save the world or something. That's too brainy. Yeah. But anyway, I remembered something.
You remembered what's on Draw for Initiative next week?
Yeah, I remembered this morning
I don't remember.
To check the calendar.
I don't know yet.
I checked the calendar. I remembered to check the calendar. I did check the calendar. And now I know. And now I can give you hints.
Does it have to do with dice?
No.
So it's not Oracle of Delphi?
No.
I made a huge step towards knowing what game it is not.
Yeah. This is a card game.
Mm-hmm. Does it have to do with booze?
There's booze in there. You try to convince people that
you're an animal.
That you are doing what you're saying. Mm-hmm. That you don't lie to them. And by doing so, you try to get the most victory points after everybody is the boss 2 times.
This sounds like one of those social games where you have to be really good talking to other people. So, Red Dragon Inn.
No. We did paint that already.
Then it's, and you're going to love this, non-Germans, Hart an der Grenze.
Do I know that game?
Yes, you do. But under
What's
a different name.
Tell me. Yeah, that's correct.
No, it's not. It's a different game.
I know, but you said I know it under a different name.
Well,
I don't get
that's
it.
not what you're painting.
I'm not painting hart an der Grenze.
We did this for weeks and
Months.
Successfully.
Months. It's months. That is way worse. It's months.
I find it very hard to have some very creative way to give hints without telling people what it is. And then you're coming over here and policing what I'm trying to carry through in my little bag of hints.
I'm sorry. I pay you a coin. There you go.
Well, actually, that's how it works.
I know. I played that game. So, did you deduce what it was?
Probably not. But
I'm sorry.
If you don't have a cheese, a chicken, and an apple, and try to stay away from the rum.
Yeah, it's quite peppery. So,
yeah, let me
get back on Wednesday to this channel, and you will definitely find out what is going to be the next painting.
So, speaking of saving the world. It seems that customer support escalated my ticket, and we are on track for getting the stuff done. So all I need now is to remind him to send me back with a copy of Anachrony for us, and then also send me back. Actually, send a setup copy of Anachrony, and then we should be good. And then.
Well, tell Zeus. He's the level 3 support engineer.
Well, let's see. It's a high priority business customer. Blah, blah. Yes, I have no problem if a Titan listens in on the conversation and rating, whatever. Okay. So, let's see if this works. Whew. That took longer than expected.
You're eating on camera. I'm hungry.
You know that past me is a douche?
I know. I lived with him. But sometimes he has good moments. He's a really nice guy. And he has potential to evolve into you. Just saying. Can I have?
No.
Why not? Future you or present you is still a douche.
And so I had to carry the game, I had to set up the game.
Yeah, I know, it's heavy. You had to work, I know, but
yeah, and then,
did you fix the timeline with that?
I guess so, and then there was still that party at Zeus' place. He's a cool dude.
How did you like Aphrodite?
I have to say I got on the wrong side with your Greek sommelier. And we kind of got wasted, so I need now my hangover muffin.
What wine did you drink? Bacchus? Oh, that one, great. So, can I assume that my YouTube channel is now mine again, and that the duck is not the world president anymore, and all that
at least
awful stuff?
At least that parallel dimension duck is not the word. Well, he might still be the word. I'm still confused how all of that worked out, but I think
it's all gonna
we are safe
balance out itself
for some
again.
time, at least until we have some other time travel thing on the show.
So that could be a while. So I think Time Stories maybe comes up with. I'm already thinking which games are on our. That was for me, right? I'm already thinking about what time travel games are on our pre-order list or whatever, if there's anything coming up. Because, anyway, we're back to normal now, right? No more subplots, no more stories within
just
stories within stories.
Hard, factual board game reviews.
Video podcasting.
No goofs, just
no
objectively talking about...
No German lessons. Yeah, right. There's always going to be German lessons,
just
folks.
only be the truth, the...
The what?
No, let's... no, this side will always be very alt objective about its opinions.
This side. So you mean you? What?
No, us.
Oh, sorry.
Well,
I need more coffee and I need a muffin.
Let's see what the recording time is. Yeah, we already, it says an hour plus, so...
yeah, we're gonna cut it here.
After cutting, maybe if you're lucky, your experience will be less than ours, but at least now you know that our misery was longer than yours. See you next week.
With a new game.
With more misery. No, actually, that's not the game. We will... Let's see what game will come up.
Yeah, we'll see what we're gonna choose. Until then, have fun, have a great weekend.
And have a muffin. Not ours, but...
Or a cupcake, as the English-speaking people say.
Yes.
Now you totally distracted me.
Now you need to do the marketing speech.
Yes, and you just distracted me. This is Marketing Sarah. Please do all the good YouTube stuff. Like, share, subscribe. Visit us on any social media platform. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Or visit us on Board Game Geek. There's 2 geek lists. One is for Draw for Initiative and the other one is for Gamers Couch. There's lots of places you can find us. There's lots of places you can leave us comments, thumbs up, and all that stuff. So please do that. Enjoy your weekend. Play a board game. Booyah! See you next week. Something like that?
I think I'm getting a cramp.
Yeah, do the way. It's good. I did. Bye, folks. Have fun.